So it's got 3 wheels, right? One is powered, the middle one, and these two obviously aren't, and they don't quite line up. See that? There's a little bit of what we call wheelbase there. So I'll switch it on and we'll see what it does. Oh, it's lost its rubber band. This is agonisingly fiddly.
And I'm assuming the rubber band works a little bit like a bicycle chain.
Yes, that's right. Right, let's try again. So you can see it's got sort of 2 modes of behaviour. It either sort of wobbles round on the spot, or it goes off in a direction until it's stopped by something. And when it's stopped by something, it sort of goes into jumping up and down mode until eventually it will change its direction.
What causes it to change its direction?
Okay, I'll explain this in a minute. Cheating a little bit.
How did you determine the distance between the misalignment of the 3 discs?
Yeah, okay, I'll explain that in a minute. Right now, at the minute it's running on one very defunct battery because I wanted it to go slowly enough that you could actually see what it was doing. But if I put some new batteries in it, it will go a lot better. And it had one dummy battery in, that's a dummy battery. So I'll just change one of the batteries. And it's got 2 AAA batteries. Right, so I've replaced the dummy battery with a new battery. Whoa! So now it works a lot better, but you can't really see how it works. Put it back on the table. Shove it this way. That's it. That's it. Can't keep filming it, can you? It's using a motor from one of Derek's old shavers.
Really?
Really, yeah. I threw most of them away, and then I wished I hadn't. They have good motors in them. So that gives us a fairly good idea of what it does. And if you hold the powered wheel, it spins round like that. So I'll just try not to break my finger. There we are. Okay, so how does it work? And the answer is I don't really know. Okay, I can give you a few pointers. So this is another one I prepared earlier, right? But I've simplified it a bit. So I've put a motor on it, but I haven't put any batteries on. So it's much easier to see what's going on. And what's going on is pretty simple. It's just 3 wheels, one of which is powered, this one. That's quite a conventional layout for vehicle. It's like a Morgan 3-wheeler or a bubble car. Right, I'll just attach the belt drive on this. And I've I've made the wheelbase a lot more on this one. I've made it about 1.5 inches, whereas it's only about 1 centimetre on this one. Right, so remember these two wheels are unpowered, they're just freewheeling. And that is the drive mechanism for the middle wheel. And I can work that with a couple of crocodile leads. Right, now the mechanism, the driving mechanism, has to work all within the radius of the driven wheel. And that makes them a little bit difficult to make, but not too bad. Okay, so let's see. Now this is a really, really dead motor, dead as a doornail. Oh, yeah, no, it's working, just. So that's just working like a three-wheeled vehicle. And that's not very interesting. The interesting thing happens when you make the wheelbase much, much less. So at the minute it's about 1.5 inches or 2 inches. But as you make the wheelbase less and less and less, you get this strange thing happening when it hits an obstruction, which I've shown with that one. That I don't really understand. But as long as you understand this, the basic layout, it's not too difficult to make. The reason why those wires are twisty like that is so I can adjust the wheelbase. So for example, if I do that, and that, make the wheelbase even longer, and now it's beginning to look like a sort of conventional vehicle. So this is the same thing, only smaller, and I've made the central wheel out of a loop of wire because that makes it much easier for the mechanism to rotate within the radius of the middle wheel. And the wheelbase on this is about 1 centimetre again, and it's got a very, very defunct battery. The hope is that if it goes slowly, we'll be able to see what it's doing. So it's got two modes of behaviour. It either bounces up and down, or it goes in a straight line. If it hits an obstacle, it goes into bounce up and down mode, and that enables it to change direction. It also seems to have a going backwards mode, which I don't really understand. I mean, I'm letting on like I understand all this, but actually I don't. See, very, very effective at getting itself out of trouble. Quite complicated obstructions it eventually avoids. So slowly there'll be enough sort of rammed it right. Okay, so
does using a wire as the central wheel impact the way the design or the way it works at all, other than?
No, it doesn't seem to. It's quite a good way of making the wheel. You just have to make it fairly round. That was briefly reversing mode there. Mysterious reversing mode. The reason it changes direction is because both these outer wheels are freewheeling, So when it bounces up and down, it tends to change direction just because the found a friend. And so, because it's changing direction all the time, it eventually gets out of trouble.
So the direction changing is entirely random?
Completely random, yeah. But because of that, it will eventually find a way out. Or almost always it will find a way out. There you go. I think it's trying to reproduce. What a scary thought that is. So this is the same thing again, but I've tried to up the power to weight ratio a bit. So this has got 2 AAA batteries and a much lighter motor, and it's almost too powerful for its own good. But it is very good at it is very good at getting out of trouble. And I think you could, if you knew about 3D printing and how to power motors with LiPo batteries, you could really make it impressive. Whoa! Okay, so there's.
Oh my god!
That's what happens if you hold the. And that's what happens if you hold the central wheel. Right, now, so here we are in an authentic, typical domestic environment. And there we go. The carpet seems to cramp its style, doesn't it? I think it's because it doesn't get much grip from that central wheel because it's only made of wire. Yep. Right, then we'll try this one, the sort of Land Rover model. Yeah, it's much happier with a carpet, isn't it, this one? Because it's got a bigger, it's got more grip from its driving wheel.
So in some ways this one's actually better at redirecting itself.
It is, isn't it? Yeah.
Do you think that's due to the size?
Lot easier to make as well because it's bigger.
Yeah.
Only it's got stuck in the same place the other one did.
But got out quicker.
So it got out quicker, yeah. See how it tends to back off a little bit when it hits something? Even the edge of the carpet, look, it's backing off a tiny bit.
The smaller one didn't do that so much.
No, it didn't do it at all.
It's hungry.